Welcome back to the A Concept You podcast, a space encouraging you to deepen your understanding of yourself, empowering you to become a better, holistic you, and supporting your flow through life to help you bridge generational gaps. I am Makala Aayana, an artist, curator, and your host. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you can check in with yourself on this beautiful day. Today is September 19th, or when this episode drops, it will be September 19th, and that just blows my mind. I feel like every single time I record an episode, because we only record twice a month, it's a huge realization of just how fast time is going by. I initially set up this first season of A Concept You, the podcast, to be 23 episodes. Why 23? Because that's my favorite number. One of my favorite numbers, and it just made sense. And it also meant that the podcast would end for a specific season in October-ish, which would give me November, December to not only prepare for the next season, but to also take a break. So I am thrilled to say that we're coming back for a second season, that we are bringing guests onto the podcast. I have a couple people within my community, outside of my community, who I've already started to really whisper about, the things that we want to talk about on here. And I'm excited to bring that to you guys. I'm excited to keep rocking here. I feel like this podcast has been an important part of my life, honestly. I feel like it has propelled me forward with A Concept You and has helped me to kind of really bring this idea to life, this community-based project that not only speaks to me, but also speaks to other people clearly. And I'm just blessed to be able to put this out there and to be able to talk so freely and feel like I can, talk about the things that are important to me, and someone somewhere is grasping something from that. And so that's all I could ever want. I am just so grateful. Y'all already know this. Today, I want to talk to you guys about a journey that I recently started. So if you guys have ever heard of it, it's called The Artist Way. It is a book that really helps you to, it's a program, it's a book that helps you to unleash your inner creativity, to break through artist block, to get back to being curious. It's a 12-week program where each week we are assigned tasks to do. So that could be like taking yourself on an artist date, whether that's going to a museum or being a part of a workshop or whatever that looks like for you, singing lessons, whatever. Then there are other specific tasks where you have to take yourself on a walk or write down, 3 people who have been encouraging in your life, and 3 people who have been discouraging in your life. And essentially it's asking you to break down barriers that you have either built up over time or have been struggling through recently. And I feel like it's been time for me to do this. So I got this book as a gift from one of my dear friends about 2 or 3 years ago now, and I started it at the beginning of 2022, but could barely get through a week because I heard of the passing of my cousin at that time, and it just wasn't what I needed to be doing at the time. I didn't really have the capacity for it. And so now I have been thinking about it at least for the last month or two, and I have been seeing all of these signs, hearing other people start the journey again, and I'm like, okay, girl, it might be time to bring this thing back out. So I am only on week 1, day 4. I actually haven't even done my morning pages yet, but it has already been such an enlightening experience. I think because I have intentionally started to pour into myself through the act of using the artist way, I've seen my creativity start to blossom a little bit more. And over the last couple of months, really the last 2 months, I have been more focused on work, more focused on my health, more focused on my family, and my creativity kind of took the back burner. It took the back burner, but I almost shifted my creative passion into different directions, and I wasn't able to paint as much, which is totally fine. It happens that way. But I already do feel a really good positive shift in just a couple of days that I've been doing the artist way, and I want to share that with you. So one thing that, I don't know if this is going to be something that's continuous, but I already do this in my routine anyway, or try to, is doing morning walks. So every single day, the book asks you to journal, and you're journaling for 30 minutes. They call these morning pages. This is a time for you to essentially just dump everything that's on your mind, and you are essentially flowing in a state of discussion to yourself, or to someone else, if that's how you decide you'd like to journal. What I realize when I journal, for one, I don't really journal too often, or at least I didn't used to be super consistent with my journaling. It would more so be me writing something or writing a passage here because this is something I want to get off my chest, and then maybe a month later I feel like coming back to journaling because I have something else I want to talk about. So it wasn't a very consistent practice for me, or at least I never made time for it to be. But I already can see how impactful giving myself 20 to 30 minutes every morning or every day to dump all of the thoughts that I have in my mind, all of the goals, all of the dreams, all of the wishes, all of the tasks, all of the things I'm worried about, into or onto a page so that I can free my mind to have space for other things, like expanding my creativity. So every morning, I have been doing the morning pages for 30 minutes, and when I am done with those 30 minutes, I am so clear. My brain is so empty, which is crazy because I feel like over the last 2 months specifically, my brain has been moving 1,000 miles an hour. There are so many things that are constantly popping in my head, so many things I am having internal dialogues about where I'm imagining how something will go, and we'll go down this entire tangential path thinking that, that's how a scenario is going to go in my head. And then I come back to reality and I'm giving myself a bunch of anxiety over something that I simply cannot control. And I just feel like this journaling practice has been such a good reality check for me to realize that my thoughts are simply my thoughts. My actions are a whole other thing. And I think this has just been a really helpful tool in regulating my self-care, regulating my mental space, and it's a free tool. You could grab a piece of paper, you could grab a cheap journal and write your thoughts out, and that is the most expensive thing that you own. Seriously. Journaling practice, I feel like that's something that I would encourage. One thing I actually used to do as well is audio journal, which is basically on my phone app, taking my voice memos app and literally just talking to myself. I do this a lot when I'm actually on when I'm actually on long drives, because for some reason when I'm driving, the thoughts just keep flowing. So I feel like the only way, obviously, to grasp them, because I can't type, is to talk them out. And so I find that when I'm also on my walks, that's also another great opportunity for audio journals as well, because I don't have anything immediate around me. And sometimes I'll type out my notes, but it's just always faster for me to speak what's on my mind, especially if it's something that I want to remember in a specific way. Journaling and actually physically writing things down, I realize, is a great way to help slow me down, because for example, with journaling in the morning, I have a very slow start to the morning. I wake up, I drink some water, I freshen up, I journal, I get up, and I go on a morning walk. That is the perfect slow start to the day, and I literally cannot ask for more. I feel like that has been helping so much to ease the anxiety that I have been feeling lately, and I'm just grateful for that practice. So I'm grateful for the Artist's Way for introducing me or reintroducing me to something that really helps to ease my mind, and I feel like that's just super important. The other thing I want to say too is the act of going on a morning walk. I feel like morning walks are great ways to cleanse your mental health and mental space as well outside of journaling. I think when I'm on a walk, I tend to not listen to anything, honestly. Sometimes I'll listen to podcasts, sometimes I'll listen to music, sometimes I'll be scrolling on my phone, but I have been trying to remember that my morning walks are my personal time to reflect, to calm myself down, to get a little bit of exercise in that isn't too strenuous, that allows me to really kind of hone in on, okay, how do I want today to go? What is happening today? How do I feel in this moment? What do I need to do? What do I need to do when I get back? So it allows me the space to let my thoughts freely roam, because I'm not listening in, I'm not consuming anything else. I am alone oftentimes. I am alone with my thoughts, and that's all I have. And I feel like it's a great time to reflect, to prepare, to think about how you'd like to show up in any given day. And that's exactly what my morning walks do. They can be super short. I normally go on a 30 to 45 minute walk around my neighborhood. There's a trail nearby. Sometimes I'll go down the trail. Sometimes I'll switch it up and actually walk through the neighborhoods because they're gorgeous and the weather is great outside. We're transitioning slowly into fall, and I feel like the transitions of the seasons are so reflective for me of transitions within myself, of my routine, of what works for me, what no longer serves me. And that is kind of a peek into the affirmations from our last episode, where I kind of spoke of affirmations for a new season. And that is a perfect representation of things you can do to propel you forward into the next 3 months, into the next 6 months, and looking forward into 2025. We are so much closer than we think we are because the holidays are wrapped around the corners. My mom is already on the phone talking about what are we doing for Thanksgiving. Like, girl, my brain is still on Labor Day weekend. I can't even think about the holidays right now. So I think having an idea of how you'd like to end your year and to start slowly thinking about the things that you'd like to accomplish for your next year is a good way to kind of end this season and really transition into the next season. And we've talked about this before. Granted, your new year does not have to start on January 1st. I was about to say July 1st. Your new year does not have to start on January 1st. It can start whenever you would like it to start. I call my new year, my start on my birthday, because I feel like that is my personal solar return. My seasons are kind of built and wrapped around the day that I was born in my mind, because spring is my season. Like, I feel like I am blossoming with the flowers, with the trees, with everything that is coming back to life. And fall is my time, my halfway point. October is my halfway point of the year to reflect on where I have been in the last 6 months and where I see myself going for the next 6 months until my next birthday comes back around. So that's kind of how I structure my new year. Yes, I do create, goals and opportunities and things for myself to achieve for the new year, like beginning in the top of the year in January, but I don't add a lot of pressure to myself to immediately start something January 1st. It's more so, okay, we're 4 months from my birthday. This is another check-in point, essentially. It's almost like every 2 months there's a check-in point. There's a realization of, okay, these are the things that I want to accomplish. Where am I at? Where is my capacity at for them? Do I need to restructure, reorganize, rethink the things that are important to me? I think that's also something that's super key here too, is giving yourself the space and the capacity to reconsider the goals that you had for yourself. Maybe the things that you initially wrote down in the beginning of the year or the beginning of your year, you don't think will serve you in the long run, or you might want to tweak or go about achieving that goal in a different way. And I can give plenty of examples with this. So I initially had a project called Project A, and I was talking to you guys about this on the podcast as well, encouraging people to sign up for it. And it felt like the way that I was going about the project wasn't serving me any longer, and I didn't think that it would give me the results that I was looking for in terms of the community, in terms of the conversations that that project would invoke. And so I have since learned to restructure this project to be something that is more natural, something that is more engaging, and that builds off of the creative wellness workshops that I have been hosting and will be hosting into the future with A Concept You. So I had my first creative wellness workshop, which was a private event earlier this month, and I hosted a sip and paint for a corporation. And so with this workshop, we focused on ways that creativity helps with our wellness, ways that you can, essentially calm yourself down in the workspace using creativity, whether that is going on a short walk outside or doodling at your desk or, after work, taking care of yourself through creativity to allow your mind to wander, to express itself through the act of art. And so that workshop went well, and I'm actually hosting my next one next month, October 10th, at the Arts Mill in Hillsborough, North Carolina. So if you're around, check my socials. I have already posted them on both my personal account at Makala Creates and also on the A Concept You Instagram account as well. So if you're interested in being a part of our next creative wellness workshop, please do join us. It will be focused on the art of collage making. And this is something that I've been really passionate about. I feel like when I was younger, I used to go through all of my mom's magazines and envision myself in the clothing and in all of the spaces that I was seeing in the magazines. And so that is just something that's really connected to a memory of nostalgia for me, but it's also something that obviously, not obviously, but sometimes when I am thinking about where I want to see myself in the next 6 months, the next 12 months, I create vision boards. And so sometimes that's a physical vision board where I'm cutting out pieces of magazines, of scraps of paper that fit the vision, the visual of the goals that I'd like to set for myself. And sometimes that's actually a digital vision board where I'm pulling images from Pinterest to design or create the visual of my life in the next year, or at least how I would like it to go. So I am excited to host this workshop, and what I intended to do with Project A was have these separate interviews and almost personalized stories and giving people the ability to tell their stories. But I since have been thinking about how I can incorporate it to my workshops, because these are people who have willingly decided to join the community, who have willingly decided to join the workshops and pour into their creativity, into their wellness. And I think because of that act of people being willing to be in the space of wellness, of creativity, and knowing that they feel so comfortable to be here because this is a creative safe space, I feel like that is the perfect opportunity to continue Project A and really modify it to fit the creative wellness workshops, to talk to the participants about what wellness means to them, about their life journey, about how wellness has kind of fit into that, and creativity as well. And so that's an example of how you can pivot the goals that you set for yourself to fit where your mindset is, where your capacity is today. And so that's what I want to leave y'all with today, is how can you restructure or relook at your goals that you've set for yourself over this year as you transition, as you prepare for the next 3 months to the end of the year. How can you set yourself up for success in 2025? Whether that is creatively, whether that is wellness, whether that is your community, pouring into your self-care, whatever that looks like for you, whatever your goals are, what can you do to ground yourself? What can you do to set yourself up for success? So I want y'all to noodle on that, to think about that until our next episode. And as I've mentioned a little bit as well, thinking about our last couple of episodes here, we only have a handful, probably, I need to double check, but I'm pretty sure it's like maybe 4, maybe 5. I feel like that's a lot. We only have a handful of episodes left. And so as we close out this first season of A Concept You and think about next season, I am just excited to bring forward and continue to bring forward all of the ideas that I have in my head to you guys, and really nourishing and pouring into this community. So thank you for being here as always. I love you guys, and I hope that you enjoy your day and you enjoy this next season as well. Bye.